Despite economic growth beating expectations, the London-based research consultancy group says the momentum might not be sustained due to risks associated with rising consumer prices. Joining us now from Singapore is Capital Economics' Alex Holmes. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. A great number for the January to March period of 8.3% growth for the Philippine economy. Can this be sustained in the second quarter from April to June?
Well, yes, as you mentioned, it was beyond the expectations of many of us who try and forecast these things, especially strong given the fact that there was a huge Omicron wave in the middle of the quarter. So Q2 is likely to be even better given the absence of Omicron and the further loosening of restrictions. But we think the outlook further ahead is perhaps not as sunny. The boost from reopening is likely to fade. It's going to be a one-off effect. And the drags from high inflation and perhaps rising interest rates soon.
How soon, Alex, will the central bank raise the cost of borrowing? Could it be as soon as their next meeting, or will they wait out until the second quarter numbers are out, maybe by July?
Well, the governor had hinted at June, but given the inflation figures that were out a few days ago beat expectations, the headline rate rose to 4.9% year on year in April, and the economy was stronger than most people expected. I suspect the central bank will probably want to get started with normalizing policy sooner rather than later.
All right. By the third quarter of 2022, we will have a new government and a new set of economic managers. How important, Alex, are the names, the faces and credentials of the new Marcos economic team to international investors and to the global financial community?
Well, Marcos is facing an uphill battle. You know, his name is not necessarily seen in a good light across the rest of the world and to foreign investors. So he has a lot of work to do to convince them. So picking the right economic managers will be crucial. One of the things that we can say in Duterte's favor is that in large parts of the economy, he just left to delegated to competent economic managers who did quite well on several fronts, at least before the pandemic started. So perhaps the best that he can do is to follow in Duterte's footsteps in that regard.
And at this point, a lot of people are saying just give the Marcos administration the benefit of the doubt. And hopefully, the economic team, whoever will be the finance secretary, will be able to perform and continue what the Duterte economic managers have already started.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario would be technocratic economic managers with little interference on the political side, just a guiding light in terms of their objectives, and leave them to get on with the job, really, to continue passing reforms aimed at improving the country's infrastructure and making the business environment easier, more attractive, and especially more attractive to foreign investors.
But the bottom line, Alex, is tackling rising poverty, strengthening healthcare, dealing with inflation, and managing the humongous debt, which could be over 13 trillion pesos by the end of Duterte's term. These are serious issues that the presumptive president and his economic team have to address.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I mean, you mentioned debt. It looks to have risen to about 65% of GDP, which is not a level to be too worried about. But they will have to be careful not to run the deficit too large, to make sure that the economy grows so that they can handle servicing all that debt.
Is there a risk of a valuation derating from the international credit rating agencies such as Moody's, S&P, and Fitch if the economic managers do not live up to expectations in handling the country's economic issues?
I think we'd have to see some pretty bad mismanagement in order to see a ratings downgrade. As I mentioned, the debt level has risen quite a lot, but it's not especially high for an emerging market of the Philippines income level. So really, it would take some quite bad moves in order to force these ratings agencies to downgrade the Philippines debt.
How involved do you think will the presumptive President Bongbong Marcos be involved in terms of economic policy? Is it important for him to also have a hands-on approach together with his economic managers in promoting the country as an investment destination?
It's very hard to say whether his input would be a good thing or not. I mean, it's hard to glean really much on the economic side of things, because the campaign trail was very thin on actual solid policy. I think really, though, he does have to try and prove to foreign investors that there will be political stability, which is one of the things that investors look for when they invest in the Philippines.
And of course, there's also a cloud hanging over a lot of investors' heads regarding corruption, nepotism, and poor governance.
Yeah, these are all issues that have been around for a long time, and that they're issues that the Philippines has to tackle. I mean, it's got pretty good potential for growth. The Philippines it's got a young and growing working age population. There's plenty of opportunity to catch up to the frontier in terms of adopting technology and best practices from elsewhere. It's really about creating a business-friendly environment to allow that to happen.
Capital Economics' Alex Holmes joining us from Singapore. Thank you so much for your insights on the Philippine economy.